Hello everyone and welcome back to my favourite room in the house. It's stinking hot today, 100 degrees outside, really windy, and we haven't had much rain lately, so it's dusty and disgusting, and there's not much else to do but sit up here and fiddle around with my gijoe stuff. And in the last couple of days I have been inspired by a live stream that my good mate Campbell from Kiwi's GI Customs and Creations and his brother Quinton have scheduled in, talking about artwork on file cards. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a show off of my collection of file cards, and to be more exact, my collection of full card backs. So I've got a little Rolodex of file cards by themselves that have been cut off the card. But I also have this folder that's full of full card backs. So I just thought I'd get some of them out and have a look at them and talk about them. I don't have any notes written down or any plans for where this video is going to go, but it should be fun. I'm going to roll it all in one take, so if the doorbell rings or if the dog starts barking, because he's asleep just down here next to me, I do apologise. I'm no professional by any stretch. I'm just a guy in his spare room showing off his toys. So without any further ado, let's get into it. And I'll start with the ones that are already out. And the first one here is G.I. Joe Battle Corps Ice Cream Soldier. He's the flamethrower. It's pretty cool art. According to the packaging, he contains a missile launcher that actually shoots and 8 accessories, which contains small parts and maybe a choking hazard. So that's pretty standard fare for a file card. Yeah, so there is the regular sort of description of the character. And these 90s Joes, they tended to come with like a loadout or a list of all of the different accessories they carried, or the different features of the figure itself. And by this time they're all being made in Indonesia as well, which is interesting. So some of the earlier Joes obviously produced in China or Hong Kong, but these Joes produced in Indonesia. The file card was still produced in Hong Kong, but the figure itself came from Indonesia, which is interesting. I'm not sure what the reasoning behind that was. If you know why manufacturing moved to Indonesia, by all means, let us know in the comments below. So the file cards, they still came with the flag points. I'm pretty sure mail away offers were offered by Hasbro throughout the entire run of ARA. I'm not sure what the mail away offers were at this time. My knowledge isn't that great. I'm sure I could look it up, but again, if you want to tell us in the comments below, feel free. As is customary with the file cards for this time, they all came with I should stop saying file cards. As is customary with the card back or the packaging at that time, they came with a full sort of dossier of all the figures that were released in the same year. And I can confirm I have all of these figures in my collection, except for that Major Blood. So he's one that I've still got to get on my hit list, but all the other ones, I've got them. I've also got some Star Brigade and some Street Fighter, which is being advertised here. So that is my man, Mr. Ice Cream Soldier. A bit of a strange name for a Joe, but a pretty good looking figure. Came out in the 2000s as Skullbuster, I reckon, in a purple colour. I've got him as well. So yeah, he's pretty cool. Let's have a look what's next. All right. Oh yeah, I got a couple of these too. So this is the green version of the Heat Viper. So this is version 2 Heat Viper. I found out for the first time this week, the Heat Viper isn't actually a flamethrower soldier. He is an anti-tank soldier. And that HEAT acronym stands for High Explosive Attack Trooper, I think. Could be wrong. Obviously, looks like the figure's been ripped off right where the second part of the acronym was listed on this card. But he's a pretty cool figure as well. I've got him. The card is pretty cool. You can see on this one, some of the vehicles were featured as a cross sell. So we're advertising the G.I. Joe Mudbuster and the Cobra Ice Snake on the back of this package. And yeah, like I said before, this one's a year before that Ice Cream Soldier, but the loadout is still there. High explosive anti-tank. Yep, that's what HEAT stands for. So it's not attack trooper, it's high explosive anti-tank. I just had to turn the card over. It's pretty cool. You learn something every day, eh? Of these figures, I reckon I've got all of those. The orange wetsuit I don't have, but I've got Bazooka, Fishing Bazooka, I've got Cross Country, got Iceberg, got Beachhead. This is Heat Viper, obviously. I've got that Alley Viper, I've got Roadblock, and I've got the Flak Viper. But yeah, don't have wetsuit. I've got the yellow version of wetsuit, but not the orange version. But yeah, again, one flag point. And where were the figures being made at this point? Looks like China. So maybe there was a switch in 93/94 to make the figures in Indonesia, which is interesting. I'll just go open the folder again and see what we've got here. I've got all sorts, mostly late 90s. My friends will know me as a fan of 90s Joes, and that's because I'm a little bit younger than most G.I. Joe collectors. So I was born in 1982, which makes me just over 40 years old. And a lot of my G.I. Joe friends are in their late 40s or even their early 50s. So their favourite Joes are from the early years, 82 through to 86. But my sweet spot when I was about 7 or 8 years old is 89, 90, 91, and even into 92 and 93. So yeah, the 90s Joes I've got a lot of respect for. The next two cards I want to show you are these Star Brigade ones. So there is a Star Brigade Duke here. So these were the Joes that looked like big robots. So G.I. Joe veered away from the O-ring sort of setup for some part of the line, this Star Brigade line, and they brought out these robots, and Duke was one of those. Came with a missile launcher for an arm. I think I've got all of them in my collection except for the bats, which is one of the trickier ones to come by. But I'm not averse to them. They're obviously not like the traditional sort of G.I. Joe look, but they still form part of G.I. Joe lore, so they're still among my favourites. They're all my favourites, I guess. Let's have a look at the back of this card. We're obviously advertising the Ghost Striker X16 on this one, and the Cobra Detonator, which is an anti-aircraft assault vehicle with a powered launcher that shoots soft foam rockets. So not sure when Nerf guns came out, but it looks like that little Cobra Detonator had a Nerf gun on it, and also a battle bot, which I reckon was able to shoot some sort of liquid, so like a water pistol. You fill it up with water or something like that. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I do know that one of my friends, Mark Johnson, who is also a collector in Adelaide, South Australia, who invites me along to toy fairs, he actually has one of those, and it is awesome. It's quite big, but it's also awesome. So yeah, up the top here were all the other figures. Got Robo Joe, which I've got him. I've also got Duke, I've got Rock and Roll, I've got Heavy Duty, I've got Destro. It's just the bat that I need. So my collection of the old Star Brigade Robotic Battle Armor Troopers is almost complete. The card for Destro is very similar. The card art's pretty cool. Destro there with his customary chrome face mask. This time inside of a spacesuit. He looked like he's under a fair bit of duress there. Got a comet sort of floating past in the background, and pretty cool artwork. Yeah, whoever came up with them did a great job. I don't know who the artist was. Again, I feel like I ask a lot, but there's just so much richness in G.I. Joe, it's hard to remember. If you know who the artist is, by all means, post in the comments below. The back of this card, obviously the same as the one I've just shown you. So, obviously there's the readout on Destro and all the bits and pieces that were on the card for rock and roll. Sorry, that was Duke that I just pulled out. But 2 Flagg points for this purchase, which is an interesting one too. So maybe these were worth 2 Flagg points because they weren't as I suppose attractive as the original O-ring figures, or perhaps they were even a little bit more expensive, or perhaps simply because they were different. They were trying to encourage some market take up. So worth 2 Flagg points. It's interesting. What's next? All right. We're headed back a year or two now. This is an Eco Warriors file card, and the character in question is Cesspool. This is a really good figure, and the file card is really cool too. So Cesspool, if you know his story, he fell into a vat of nuclear custard by accident. In the cartoon series. He blamed G.I. Joe for that accident and his horrible disfigurement, and became a Cobra operative after that. So yeah, it's a cool story in the cartoons. If you haven't seen it, have a look at it. But CEO, Chief of Environmental Operative. It's a funny way of filling in those letters for CEO. I've never seen that before. Yeah, he's really cool. Let's have a look at the back. So 1991 was Cesspool, so yeah, back another year. 1991, as you can see, was a massive year for G.I. Joe. There's quite a lot of figures there. He's worth 1 action point. So they weren't called Flagg points in the rest of the world. So this, I think, is a UK or even Australian card back. So weren't called Flagg points, called action points by the looks of it. And yeah, I mean, you actually get 2 file cards with this one. So you get a file card showing what Cesspool's background is, but you also get a little file card there with a special communique from G.I. Joe headquarters, which is a lot of fun as well. Obviously, with the Eco Warriors, you chuck them in really cold water, and some battle damage would appear, as is depicted on this Toxo-Viper on the right hand side here, and then obviously to restore that original color, you run it under warmer water. Most of the figures I have from the Eco Warriors line, they sort of have that battle damage as a permanent feature now. So maybe it's something that doesn't last very long. I mean, most of these figures are 30 years old now. But yeah, I note there that the note says, do not leave the figure in sunlight or in any other intense light, which may be the reason why some of them hold that battle damage permanently these days. So yeah, that's Cesspool. That's a cool file card, that one. What's next? This one. I actually got this card before I got this figure, and I don't know how I did that. I think it was maybe in a lot randomly, but this is Battle Corps Flint. He's the Flint that looks like he's a desert trooper, and he's actually listed as having a sandblaster here. So yeah, I actually got this card before I got the figure, which is pretty crazy. I don't know how that happened to this day. I know I had an Eco Warriors Flint before I had this Flint, so maybe I bought this one thinking it was Eco Warriors Flint, but it wasn't. This is just the Battle Corps version. But the art on this is pretty cool too. I've always wondered why they didn't call this Flint Dusty. I mean, Dusty is the desert trooper that we all love. Not sure Well, Flint needed a desert version. But hey, Flint was a favourite character of all the kids, I suppose, back in the day, and still is. So there probably was a good reason to keep his character going by bringing out a desert version. On the back here, you can see the Battle Corps sort of offering was pretty small. There's only sort of 7 figures advertised on this card. I've got all of those, which is quite an accomplishment. I'm quite happy with myself there. That Shipwreck is a great figure. But again, Star Brigade and Street Fighter were advertised here, as well as the Cobra Scorpion and the G.I. Joe Manta Ray. The Manta Ray is a cool little vehicle, that one. I reckon I had a Manta Ray at some point, but I moved him on. I don't collect vehicles. Vehicles have never really caught my eye. It's just the figures. But that Manta Ray was a pretty good vehicle, that one. And I mean, I could see myself owning it again one day, but we'll see how we go. And yeah, the file card, as was customary in 1993, lists off all of those different features, as well as background on Flint. Quote, jumping out of a plane at 40,000 feet is easy. Landing in desert sand is the hard part. Yeah, that's fair enough. Dashiell R. Fairborn is Flint's name. He's from Wichita, Kansas. Interesting. Dashiell Fairborn. Yeah, all right. What's next? This card's a bit warped, but hey, it's from the Battle Corps as well. That's Battle Corps Beachhead. As you can see, it's a bit wavy, so it's obviously been water damaged at some point, or I don't know, got crushed somewhere. Still got this this little brochure attached, which I've not bothered to rip off. I think if I do, it'll probably either lift part of the file card off, which as you can see is already doing, or it will lift part of the brochure off. So I've sort of been hesitant about doing that. That's pretty cool though. Obviously details of that mail away that we talked about were in there. So the artwork on this one, again, pretty cool. He's not my favourite Beachhead figure. I think everyone's favourite Beachhead figure is the first one. But the fact that his balaclava and his mouth were all sort of one piece, it just seemed a bit weird. Like, he's got the balaclava over his open mouth here, which is a bit strange. But other than that, he's a pretty good figure. And yeah, the cross selling on this is very similar to the Flint card that I just showed you. I think I'll keep going with the old Battle Corps, and this is a Cobra version of the Battle Corps, and you'll see that the card is actually red. So all of the Joe ones appeared to be blue, which is interesting, with blue lasers, and then the Cobra ones were red with red lasers, and this artwork of Metalhead is pretty cool as well. Metalhead looks kind of unhinged in this photo. If you know the figure, he looks like a happy guy, which is sort of consistent with his depiction in especially the cartoon, the Deep cartoons. He was a happy sort of crazy sort of lover of explosions, but in this one he looks a fair bit more bedraggled, a fair bit more sadistic. So yeah, that's pretty cool art, that one. And yeah, the reverse is the same as the other ones that I've just had. Now, obviously with the red border. I think I like the red cards better than the blue cards. Let me know what you think, if you like, in the comments below. Keep saying that, but I make these videos for you guys. So yeah, just to show this stuff off here. So yeah, get involved. Feel free. Say good day. Heading back another couple of years now, and the cards become markedly smaller. So this is a card for Rampart, who is the shoreline defender, and he is a figure from 1989. So the cards look a lot smaller, and this is the way the cards looked early on, for probably the majority of the line. They were a bit of a different size. Well, they're not the ones that are of a different size, I suppose. It's the one in the 90s. The ones in the 90s that are a different size. But yeah, this is pretty cool. The artwork, it's got that sort of digital explosion in the back, which was a bit of a change compared to some of the earlier stuff. Advertising a free command ring in here, and I reckon I had one of those when I was a kid. A little green one. Came with Salvo. Yeah, so that was a pretty cool little inclusion back in the day. Kmart was selling this figure for $5.36. So I'd say this was an Australian card, just because Kmart was huge in Australia and still is. $5.36, down from $6.98. Pretty cool. But as you can see, 1989, another massive year for G.I. Joe. Lots of characters here. I haven't paused to check how many of these figures I've got. I'd say I've got most of them. Yeah, I reckon I do. I'm pretty blessed to be able to look at a file card with a whole bunch of figures on it. So yeah, I've got all these guys. Yeah, look at me. Bragging, not bragging. Sorry. Yeah, I reckon I've got all of those. But, yeah, 1 flag point for this dude, and yeah, back to the traditional file card there. 1989, Pawtucket, Rhode Island. All rights reserved. Dwayne A. Felix does not identify any known living person. Yeah, it's cool. That's Rampart. What's next? Oh, there's another Battle Corps one hiding in here. This was the Crimson Guard Commander. This artwork's really cool. Check that out. That's very cool. And he's actually a pretty cool figure. If you don't mind the neon flashes, Crimson Guard Commander is a cool figure. So that's him. Mega Marines and Armor Tech and the Battle Corps were all advertised on the back of this one. So this one's from 1992, a bit different to the 1991 Battle Corps cards that I had out before. I reckon I've got most of those figures as well. One day I'll have to do a show and tell, maybe year by year. I only just got Cobra Eel and General Flagg, so I've only just added those guys to my collection. But I've got most of them as well. So, but yeah, it's the art on that one that's really cool. Can you imagine being a G.I. Joe card artist? It'd be a cool job, wouldn't it? Particularly if you could draw. It would make you rather successful. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Here's another figure that I had when I was a kid. This is Sub-Zero. He's a snow trooper. So, yeah, I had him when I was a kid. Well, I say I had him, but my brother actually owned Sub-Zero, and he was one of the first ones that I bought from eBay when I started collecting again, because this really hits me right in the nostalgia. Yeah, very cool. So yeah, lots of figures came out in 1989, as you can see there. It's pretty crazy, but I don't know, the artwork a bit more demure on that one. Still cool, but I wouldn't say it's as eye-catching as some of the other figures. But yeah, still cool. What else I got here? Oh, it's another Battle Corps. Correct. I told you I got a lot of 90s stuff. This is Keel-Haul. And Keel-Haul's obviously a straight-up repaint of the figure that was included with the USS Flagg. And he was obviously supplied with that missile launcher and that funny weapons tree. But if you can't get a hold of the original Keel-Haul, the version 2 Keel-Haul is a really good stand-in. And he doesn't actually come with those crazy colours that lots of figures had in the 90s. He's a straight up dark blue and green colour combination with a pretty cool logo embossed on his back. So he's got a Ghost Strikers sticker or decal on the back of his jacket, and the rest of the figure looks exactly the same as he did in version 1. So he's a cool figure, and that's cool artwork. The back of this card, obviously very similar to the ones that I've already shown you. Everett P. Colby, Admiral Keel-Haul, birthplace Charlottesville, Virginia. Shout out to my mate Eric Harper, Hillbilly Harper, who was from West Virginia. I don't know if Charlottesville is anywhere near you, mate, but if it is, that's pretty cool. Even if it's not, still pretty cool. It says Virginia on the card, and you're from West Virginia, so that's a very loose connection, but but it's one I'm sure you will appreciate. So yeah, it's Keel-Haul. All right, now this is a card that I remember quite clearly from my childhood. It's a bit of a shame that the figure was ripped off right in front of Salvo's face. But Salvo, I think, was the third G.I. Joe that I had as a kid. I remember being gifted him for a birthday, and I'm pretty sure I took him to McDonald's in Salisbury, South Australia, and played with him on the old party train that they had at the McDonald's at Salisbury. So if you're watching this and you're from Adelaide, specifically the northern suburbs, you remember when the old train was parked out the front of McDonald's in Salisbury. I remember playing with this figure in that train at a birthday party, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, a darn shame that that the figure wasn't torn off a little bit more carefully on this one, because you can't really see his face and that iconic right of might writing on his t-shirt. The back, obviously 1990. I reckon I've got most of those figures as well. My Crimson Guard, Immortal up here doesn't have any accessories, but apart from that, I've got most of those figures, so pretty blessed. David K. Hassel. Yeah, that sounds like David Hasselhoff. Another one from Virginia, Arlington, Virginia. That's pretty cool. Hello again, Hillbilly Harper. What's next? All right. Whoa, I got this. This is an awesome card. This is from the Evil Headhunters, and this is Headhunter Stormtrooper. This is probably one of the best figures from the 90s. It's all black and gold. It has quite a bit of texture on the figure itself, a spiky sort of texture. He looks like one that you wouldn't want to run into in a back alley when you're running around with the drug elimination force. So Headhunter Stormtrooper is a really cool figure. File card is this strange purple colour, and can confirm I have most of those figures on the back as well. Gristle's one of my favourites, and I think I've got Gristle's card back in here somewhere. G.I. Joe is a member of the Partnership for a Drug-Free America. It's pretty cool. Just channeling a bit of Nate the Retro Tinker there with a voiceover. I'm sure Nate could do a better job. Yeah, very cool. There's a little communique there from the Drug Elimination Force, as well as a bit of background on the Headhunter Stormtroopers. That's a cool card, that one. Oh, we haven't looked at a Snake Eyes yet, and this one's a bit funny. So obviously the figure was torn right off this card, and then somebody wanted the flag point pretty desperately to send away and claim a mail away offer. So that's a bit of a shame. But I mean the artwork, well, the part of the artwork that we can see there is actually pretty cool. This is a very underrated Snake Eyes. This one, 1989, and yeah, the back pretty sort of standard fare. 89, 90, so many figures came out. So I remember looking at the back of these cards and dreaming about the figures that I wanted to get next, that I wish my parents could buy me. I find myself doing it again right now, and I should stop. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Snake Eyes, there he is. His file name is classified. His primary military specialty is infantry, and his secondary military specialty is hand-to-hand combat instructor. His birthplace is also classified, but if you look into G.I. Joe lore, you start to learn quite a bit more about Snake Eyes, and his story makes him, I suppose, the central character in G.I. Joe. After being somewhat of a mistake when he was introduced into the line in 1982 as a figure that basically had no paint applications, he became the guy that has really been at the heart of the G.I. Joe ecosystem for years and years and years. Still to this day, they're making movies about him and bringing figures out with his name. So yeah, Snake Eyes, very cool. In 1989, obviously, no exception. It's very cool. Some more Battle Corps here. There's Dr. Mindbender. Again, card's been ripped straight across where the best of the artwork is. So whoever got this one for Christmas was a bit too keen to just get him off the packet. But full credit to them for actually keeping them, because they're a bit of history, which is very cool. Still going with a bit more Battle Corps. This is Night Creeper Leader, the Cobra member of Tiger Force, as far as I'm concerned. He's got those tiger stripes on his pants. It's, yeah, another cool card. He looks like he's under some duress. Imagine having a missile launcher like that and being blindfolded. Yeah, I don't know how he figures out where he is shooting at things, which is a bit funny. Yeah, very cool. We're advertising the DEF and Ninja Force on the back of this one. I reckon I've got some Ninja Force here, but we'll have a look at shortly. So yeah, it's Night Creeper Leader. There's also a bit more Star Brigade. This is Astro-Viper. So I think Astro-Viper is the guy up in the back here. So it's funny because it's a massive card, and Astro-Viper, the character himself, is only this little fellow up the back. I'm not sure who the guy in the front is. If you know, let me know. Maybe it's sci-fi or someone like that. But that's Astro-Viper up the back there. So I find it interesting that he's not the center of attention on this file card. And yeah, all of the Star Brigade figures are advertised here on the back. Yeah, pretty sure I've got most of those. I've got Payload, but he's hard to find with that visor on his helmet still intact. Yeah, these are pretty cool. Star Brigade spaceships, so you could buy spaceships in G.I. Joe around. The armor bot that we talked about before. Astro-Viper, pretty cool. 1993, made in China. Alright, what's next? Oh, there's a Cobra Commander here. That's pretty cool. A Battle Corps Cobra Commander as well. Got lots of 90s stuff. This one has a John Martin's price tag on it. I think that's what it is anyway. John Martin's was a distinctively South Australian department store chain. So if you're watching this from anywhere else in the world, you wouldn't know what John Martin's was. But John Martin's was a department store that I think closed down in the early 2000s in Adelaide, South Australia. Could have been a little bit later, but John Martin's were the founders of the worldwide famous Adelaide Christmas pageant. If you haven't heard of the Adelaide Christmas pageant, maybe go and have a look on YouTube after you've finished watching me. But John Martin's founded the Christmas pageant, which has been going for, oh wow, close to 100 years in Adelaide, and basically signals the start of the Christmas season in my neck of the woods. It's a parade down the streets of Adelaide with massive floats and thousands of people in costumes and the arrival of Santa Claus. So it's a cool event. And I'm sure lots of kids received G.I. Joes for Christmas after going to the Christmas pageant. So John Martin's, thanks for the memories. Cobra Commander here is in his hood, which by all reports we're never going to see again, for all sorts of reasons, which is a bit sad, but hey, I also understand to some extent. But yeah, it's a pretty cool illustration on that card as well. The back, again, advertising Mega Marines, Armor Tech, and Battle Core. I've got some Mega Marines here, so that's pretty cool. Product and colours may vary, which is interesting. I can't say I've got doubles of too many figures and taken time to compare what they look like with each other, and whether there is any difference between the same character within the line. So that's an interesting point. Might have to start looking out for that. So there it is there. Product and colours may vary. Interesting. So that's Cobra Commander from John Martins. Now, I can't tell what this one is. Someone's just ripped the figure clean off where the artwork was, so that's a bit of a shame. Obviously, Spearhead and Max, so I will never know what the card art looked like. Oh, that's a lie. I could probably go and look it up. But yeah, little fella who got this one for Christmas didn't wait to tear the figure off the card. He just went nuts. So this is from K's Merchandise, which is a store that I've never heard of before. Yeah, it's interesting. $2.97. It's got the Flagg points in here, so I reckon this might have been a US card. A 1987 figure, so we're going back a couple more years now again, and I have most of these figures as well. A couple of real bangers in this year. That Storm Shadow was a fantastic figure. Falcon as well, Outback, Big Boa, Battle Armor Cobra Commander. So some real heavy hitters in this wave. Even Shockwave's a good figure. So yeah, Spearhead and Max from St. Louis, Missouri. Cool. Peter Millman. So that's yeah, Spearhead, which we can't see. I'd imagine his face would look something like that though. Who's next? We've got Giraffe Pants Leatherneck here, and the funny thing about this file card is you can't really see his giraffe pants. Yeah, I'm not sure whether the illustrator saw the figure before he did the card art or afterwards, but maybe he saw the figure beforehand and thought, oh, there's nothing I can do with those pants. So he's put them in shadow on the card back. Good work. Yeah, that's Fishing Bazooka. Oh no, not Fishing Bazooka. It's not fishing bazooka. It's Giraffe Pants Leatherneck. I always get those two muddled up in my head for some reason. There's only one way to train hard, so stop and give me 50. It's like that line from Hard Quiz. Shout out to my mate Shark Eyes, who's been trying to get on to Hard Quiz. There's only one way to train hard. Speaking of hard. Here's a file card for Hardball, and this one belonged to a lad by the name of Brett, and we know this because Brett wrote his name on it. Thanks, Brett, and sorry that I have your childhood in my spare room. Shout out to Brett if you're watching. I doubt that he is, but if he is, Brett, give me a yell. And I'll send you this file card, mate. I feel like you need to be reunited with it, and I'm a good bloke, so so give us a yell. The artwork here is pretty cool. On the back, as you can see, Brett has marked off all of the G.I. Joe figures that he had, and he's highlighted the ones that he wants. And I dare say Brett had a very good childhood because he had quite a few of these. He did really, really well. So there was a couple he was looking for. He wanted Repeater and he wanted Falcon by the looks of it. But they're not marked off, so they're highlighted but not marked off. So he must have wanted those really badly, but never got them. I reckon he should have highlighted Hit and Run in the Iron Grenadier. They're two pretty cool figures too. No one wanted Crystal Ball by the looks of it. Wilma S. Doubleby. It's a great name. From Cooperstown, New York. That's Hardball. The multi-shot grenadier. Real baseball vibes. It's pretty cool. Also got a Battle Corps Roadblock. This card art, probably not as action-packed as some of the other card art we've seen. But still pretty cool. He looks like he's laying down some fire. That belt buckle, that's pretty cool too. RB on the belt buckle for Roadblock. Yeah, I've shown you lots of these Battle Corps card backs, so I won't spend too much time here, but yeah, that's pretty cool. Here's another card that I got before I actually got the figure itself. So with this one, I ordered a whole bunch of card backs from a local reseller, and he sent them all to me. And this was actually stuck to one of the other cards. So when he was packaging them up, he put this into my box by accident. And I messaged him later on and said, "Mate, you sent me this card by mistake. I don't even have the figure." He goes, "Mate, look, you just keep it. It's all good. You're a good customer of mine." And I was spending lots of money with him. But the card is actually Footloose. And as you can see, that artwork is fantastic. And when we head back into the earlier 80s, so this is a 1985 figure, I think. When you head a little further back into the 80s, the explosion in the background is actually a true explosion. It's not like the digital explosion that we started to see in the late 80s. And the artwork is real sort of reminiscent of that time. And Footloose is a fantastic figure, and this artwork is fantastic to go with it. So a fair bit of this card was ripped off, as you can see, but the best part, the actual character itself is still intact, which is pretty cool. Lots of figures were available in this wave, as you can see, and whoever owned this card did the same as Brett did on the Hardball card. A couple cards back, they've crossed off all the ones they owned. Haven't highlighted the ones they're looking for, but definitely they were having a great childhood by the looks of it. The flag points are missing here, which is a common sort of issue with these card backs. And mate, if you're gonna put them there, they're gonna get cut out, aren't they? Which is interesting. Footloose is from Gary in Indiana, and one of my great mates, Casey from Podcast from the Pit, he's from Indiana, so shout out to Casey. Is Gary anywhere near you, Casey? Let us know, mate. It'd be great to hear. So that's Andrew Myers from Gary, Indiana, otherwise known as Footloose. All right. Got a fair way through here. Here's another one from the mid-80s. This is Crazylegs. There he is. He's a paratrooper. So this is 1986. So this must be when they started to move to that digital sort of explosion in the background. This one was available from Toys R Us for $2.69. And the mail-away offer on this card was for the fridge, which is pretty cool. You just needed to get 5 flag points and send $1 for the postage, and they send back the fridge, which is a cracking deal. I'd be in that if you could still do that to this day. So Crazylegs is from Fort Dodge in Iowa, and his name is David Thomas. He's pretty cool. This file card's actually in really good nick, I must admit. I've done pretty well there, so that's really good. We've also got 1991 Duke here, and there's only a little bit of the card art in here. As you can see, the figure has been completely torn off. There's not much of the art left, which is probably a good thing, because this is the Duke figure that rides that massive cannon, which is a bit ridiculous. So to have just the art up in the top left-hand corner there is probably not such a bad thing. Yeah, that's Duke. This one looked like it had some sort of sticker over the barcode, which would indicate to me it was sold in Australia. The sticker, as you can see, has been torn off, leaving behind that gummy sort of stuff. Yeah, which is interesting. May well have been sold in Australia. Have to take that under advisement. Another one from St. Louis, Missouri. Duke, the Master Sergeant. There's the rest of the card art down there. As you can see, he's riding that humongous cannon. All right. What else have I got here? Oh, this must have been from the same collection as the Duke that I just pulled out. This is Gung Ho. The figure's been ripped off in a similar sort of way. I love the fact that the American flag's on here. It's a real heartstring pull of that one. It's awesome. Gung Ho was obviously supplied with an American flag for this version too. So, yeah, very cool. But yeah, on the back you can see there was a price tag. It looked like Gung Ho was on clearance, and they've covered up the barcode. So it's very interesting. Maybe the shop that it was sold at just didn't run with barcodes, which is fair enough. Yeah, but that is Gung Ho. He's from 1991. I think I've been through most of the figures already on the back of this card. I reckon I've got all of them. Big Bear's probably among my favourites. I've got that yellow wetsuit. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Another Battle Corps. Told you got lots of Battle Corps. And another one from John Martin's, as you can see there. So this is Shipwreck from John Martin's. He was $8.95 out for $6.95, which is a bargain if you ask me, because this is a great figure. Done really well to get this on clearance. So well done to whoever bought this for their little boy or their little girl. I don't discriminate. So that's Shipwreck. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Talked about some Ninja Force before. This is a card for Ninja Force Zartan, and it's definitely seen better days. Yeah, it's pretty crinkly, as you can see. Yeah, maybe water damaged at some point, but dried out and stayed intact well enough. And this Zartan figure is a pretty cool figure. Whilst he doesn't have all of the bits and pieces that we know Zartan for, it's still a really nice looking figure. And I've got him in my collection. The knives that fit into his leg holsters here, really hard to find, but I'm lucky enough to have them both. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, looks like there was a tear in this card at some point as well. So it's had sticky tape replaced on it. The pink is an assault to the eyes, but I suppose that was all the rage in the early 90s when G.I. Joe was trying to compete with the Toxic Crusaders and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I've got these, which I sort of got for free with an order once. This is a card back for an action pack, a radar station action pack. So obviously there were some little accessories that were supplied to add to your figures back in the day, and this was one of them. A lot of those action packs are cross-promoted on the back here, which is a lot of fun to look at as well. There's Raptor down there with a pom-pom gun. That's pretty cool. Big Boa with a mountain climber. Croc Master with an earth borer. Sneak peeks on the radar station, which makes sense. Jinx is flying around in a helicopter up the top there. So there's a lot of good stuff there. I thought Fastdraw was an anti-aircraft gunner himself. Why does he need another anti-aircraft gun? I don't. Yeah, I'm not complaining. And there's a Techno-Viper by the looks of it on a rope crosser, which is interesting. So that's an unusual card back, that one. Here's one that I only just got recently. That's General Flagg. The figure was actually still partially attached to this card, so I was able to just ease the bubble off and take the figure out. Yeah, a lot of this damage was already there, so it was like someone had taken it off and then put the bubble back on with some sticky tape. You can see the gummy stuff at the top here, so I took the figure off and just running with a file card by itself. So yeah, General Flagg, James Longstreet Flagg III, from Alexandria, Virginia. A lot of GeoJoes are from Virginia, which is interesting. So just to finish up, I want to show some file cards that aren't strictly GeoJo, but they were produced by Hasbro, and some of them have the GeoJo logo on them, so that's good enough for me. And they're from the Street Fighter sort of lineup. So these two cards, they look the same on the front. This is from the Street Fighter 2 movie collection. So that's Paratrooper Guile with John Claude Van Damme. It's very, very cool. And this is Rock Trooper Guile. So the packaging was actually almost the same, which is interesting. And the packaging on the back is pretty much the same as well, as you can see. But the best thing about this is you've got all of the Street Fighter GeoJoes, so to speak, in full illustrated form on the back of the card, which is quite fun to look at. I've got most of those. I don't have E-Honda, so E-Honda is one I'm still looking for. If you can help me out, give me a yell. Yeah, it's a pretty cool file cards, those ones. So I've also got the actual G.I. Joe Street Fighter cards here. So there's Balrog. This is a cool file card. Really channeling Mike Tyson here. And the video game, of course. Another one from John Martin's. So, yeah, it feels kind of cool to have a card back from a figure that was purchased in my hometown way back in the 90s. That's very cool. And obviously the back of the card has all the Street Fighter figures here. I reckon, yeah, as I said, E-Honda and Sagat. Is it Sagat? I'm no Street Fighter expert. They're the only two that I don't have, so the search continues. Yeah, it's pretty cool. There's a tip for the video game there too, which is awesome too. Deliver an uppercut from a crunching position. Simply duck and press Fierce. So Fierce must have been the name for a button. Use this move to stop opponents in midair as they fly towards you. That's pretty cool. So that's Balrog, and then you've got Ken Masters. All of the backs of the cards are pretty similar here, just with different tips for the characters and a bit of information on each figure. I love the fact that these have flags. So as you can see, Balrog and Kenny Masters were both American. Here's M. Bison, who was I think M. Bison was meant to be called Balrog, but they changed M. Bison and Balrog at the last minute because M. Bison was actually too close to the Mike Tyson name. So there was some concerns that they get into copyright issues. So Balrog became M. Bison and M. Bison became Balrog, or something like that. Let me know if it's a different story. I apologise if it is. Yeah, the card back is very, very similar. He comes from his own sort of alignment. Like this doesn't appear to be a flag of any particular country. He's just known as evil, which is fair enough. Here's Ryu or Ryu, whichever way you like to refer to him, and he's from Japan, as you can see. So yeah, pretty cool. Some of the vehicles are advertised on these cards. I've got the Crimson Cruiser up there, so I got these 5 cards in a big lot, which included the Boom Tank and the Crimson Cruiser. I moved on the Sonic Boom Tank because a lot of the decals were missing, so I don't have that anymore, but I kept the Crimson Cruiser because, let's be honest, it just didn't sell. When I put it on eBay, it didn't sell. I had it at a low starting bid, and even at a low starting bid, there weren't any takers, so I kept it, and over time I've fallen in love with it, so it's still in my collection to this day. So that's Ryu, and then there's Vega. I've got a Vega in my cabinet there. He's a figure with long hair. It's interesting. Ooh, Wolverine sort of vibes here with that clawed hand, which is interesting. And yeah, the card back's all there. He's from Spain. Obviously got that bullfighter look. So he's pretty cool. And that's all I've got to show you. So I hope you've enjoyed sitting down with me and looking through some of my file cards. Hopefully you saw one of your favourites. If you did, feel free to tell me in the comments below. If you didn't, I apologise. I'll do better next time. But yeah, if you're watching and you haven't subscribed to me already, I'd love for you to do that. Whilst the numbers are cool, they're not hugely important to me, but subscribing to my channel and liking my videos, sharing my videos, commenting on my videos, it helps other people see them. So if you've enjoyed this, feel free to do any of that, so it gets in front of some people who would be entertained by this kind of stuff. That's all I got for you. So until next time, yo Joe.